Hey everybody, welcome to the Black Diamond Call for Monday, December 12th, 2016. John Laveni is here with you live from Salt Lake City. Just got off a plane today, running on very little sleep. I might be babbling today on this call, especially since the scheduled co-host that I had for tonight had an issue come up. He wasn't able to join us. He'll be out here again in a couple weeks. So you're going to get to hear from me tonight. And I just decided what I was going to talk about like 10 minutes ago. So it should be interesting. But here's what we do on the Black Diamond Call. We talk about how we got to the top. I typically have a co-host on here who talks about their story and the philosophies that they applied to get to the top and to become very successful in what we're all looking to do here, which is this whole top-tier direct sales space. And, of course, here with Digital Altitude, the ability to be successful is just exemplified like we've never seen before. We have broken every record in just our first 10 months, every record in this industry. So a very exciting place to be. And I do have a couple of announcements too, right from the top. Let's see here. We've got, if you are an affiliate here, we've got Payza, which is now up for members and affiliates. Okay, so this is for people who are getting paid by wire. Let's say you're an affiliate here and you're going to receive your commissions. You can go ahead and set up a Payza account as well now, and you're going to see that inside your Digital Altitude members site. So when you click on My Business, you're going to see that, and go ahead and sign up for a Payza account. And let's see, for those in the U.S. getting ACH, that's still the fastest and most affordable way. So again, Payza is going to be especially valuable for our international members, of which we have many. I know we've got members on every continent except Antarctica. Yes, and if you're on Antarctica, please let me know, because as far as I know, we have not penetrated that market because we don't speak Penguin. Okay, and secondly, another announcement, we've got an Ascend pre-event survey that was sent out, and we're going to be looking for some RSVPs. So if you've got an Ascend ticket, definitely check your inbox, check your spam folder, make sure that you've got the documents that was sent to you, because official registration will be opening soon. And that is, of course, Ascend, which is happening in Maui, March 8th through 11th. Maui, Hawaii. Any of you been to Maui? You can go ahead and put it in the chat roll. I've been to Maui, I don't know how many times, 3 or 4 times. Maui's really cool, and I know we've got some people who have been to Maui here, but Maui's really cool. They got the luau's, they got the hula dancers, they got the kalua pua'a, which is roast pork, right, which is customary to eat at luau's, and Haleakala Crater, and the beautiful beaches, snorkeling at Molokini Island. And I will tell you, the best fish dinner I've ever had was on Maui at a place called Mama's Fish House. But anyway, all of that is in store for us as we go to the Ascend event in March. So check your email on that. Now, what are we going to be talking about here tonight? Oh, right, the Black Diamond Call. Like I said, I just got off a plane, running a little low on sleep, a little bit low on food. Blood sugar is kind of low, so we're going to hear where this goes tonight. And where it's going to go is I'm going to talk with you about some stuff that I think is going to be very, very instructive for you, especially if you're a new member here looking to get traction in this whole online marketing thing that you signed up in. And so I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on things as they've occurred to me in my life and in my business. What I'm going to ask you to do is see how you can apply these ideas into your life, into your business, so you're not just here to be entertained, as entertaining as I like to believe that I am. You're here to get some mileage. And what that mileage looks like in your world as an entrepreneur is profitability. Yes, we're looking for you to make money. I'm looking for you to make money. It's one of the reasons why I am in this industry, is because I get to whatever degree assist people in creating the financial freedom which they've been desiring for themselves and their family their whole lives. Right? So that's why I'm here. I can go anywhere and make money. You can go anywhere and make money. Why do we do this business? Not only is it lucrative, right? Sales and marketing is statistically the highest paid profession in the world, but also we get to be a part of the success of other people. So for me, this is bigger than just the money, and I think a lot of us on this line can relate to that, especially people. Once you've made a lot of money in this industry, it's about the people. It's not just about the data on the computer screen or the ink on the paper. which we'll call a bank statement, right? That's all important. That's all great. But it's about people, right? So I want you to see how you can apply this into your life, because my truth doesn't serve you, okay? Your truth serves you, and that's the truth that's alive in your life and in your business, right? So see how these ideas apply. And as always, if I say anything that offends you, you'll get over it. I tend to not be politically correct. I'd rather get a little, cage rattling going on, and if people get a little uncomfortable but become successful, that's great, rather than everybody stay comfortable and broke, right? We already know how to be broke. That's what got us looking for an opportunity in the first place. Now we're here to be outrageously successful, unapologetically affluent. That's what we're here to do, and that's what it looks like at the top. That's the black diamond. So here's what I'm going to be talking about tonight, and I already alluded to it, and that is this whole idea of financial freedom, this whole idea of having more control, excuse me, yes, having more control in your life as it relates to things that are important to you. Now, this sounds like something everybody would want, right? Who doesn't want more freedom in their life? You can go to rallies and conventions with home-based business companies all over the globe, and people are going to be cheering and chanting about how they're going to create freedom in their life, and they're going to hit some great rank or some higher income level, and they're going to reach these goals that they purport that they have, right? That I want to make $100,000 a year, $1 million a year, $20,000 a month, $50,000 a month, whatever their goal that they state, whatever that is, right? And so what is the purpose of all this money? What is the purpose of all this increase that people want in their life? Well, the purpose is so they can have more control of their lifestyle, their experiences, their time, right? What their bank account statement says, right? That they can actually have more control and dominion over the circumstances that are occurring in their lives. And that's why we enjoy freedom, right? You think about this. Psychologists who don't often agree on much, but they do agree on this a lot of times, that to the degree a person feels like they have some control and dominion in their life, to that degree they experience peace of mind. And by contrast, to the degree that somebody feels like a slave, to that degree they have no control and they've got no peace of mind, right? So man and life itself is always moving towards increase. That's what we're designed to do, to create, to expand, to express ourselves more fully, to deliver some service, to cause some good things to happen to the world, the planet, to mankind, right? We're here to cause increase. In fact, in Wallace D. Wattles, in his classic book, The Science of Getting Rich, which you can download for free online if you don't have a copy. It was written in 1910, so it's long out of copyright. So you can download a free copy of The Science of Getting Rich. But one of the things that he talked about in that book was the impression of increase. So here he is describing something that you could and should do if you're in business, and that is to leave every customer with the impression of increase. Because what does every customer, and thereby every person, no matter what kind of business you're in, what does every human want? They want increase. They want increased pleasure and decreased pain. They want their problems solved. They want to know that they have been heard. They want to be served by that person who is providing that service or selling them that product. So leave everyone with the impression of increase. So we could say that increase is a universal. And this is something that, trees grow up, right? They want to get bigger. Blades of grass, even after you mow the lawn, they are looking for increase. They will continue to get taller, and you will have to mow the lawn again, right? So we can see example after example after example of how beings, living creatures like us, we seek increase, greater expansion, fuller expression. That is the natural state of life. So if we can all agree on that, then we can also say, well, since we're living in this society where we use this thing called money, and we supply our needs, and we provide for our families, and we do all the things that we do as the breadwinners, as people who are after this capital gains or earned income or whatever, however that money comes to us, that this is one of the ways that we experience increase. Right? By having greater control of our income. This leads to freedom. People have often said, usually broke people have often said, well, money won't buy you happiness. Okay, well, it was never designed to buy you happiness. It was designed to create some freedom for you. It will buy you that. Think about it, right? If you need to work for money, then you are basically a servant of the money, and you're going and doing whatever the corporate agenda says you have to do, or the boss, or whatever. And some people, they've succumbed to that. Some people, they're going to have a job, they're going to be told what to do and how much money their time is worth, and all that. But that's not everybody here, right? That's not my audience, right? All of us, we're people who have chosen to reach for more, to reach high above mediocrity. That is why we are here. We seek greater control and freedom in our lives and the peace of mind that comes with that. So think about this. If we're earnestly looking for this, if we're earnestly looking to achieve that freedom, which so many people say they want when they get started in a business like this, right? Any entrepreneurial opportunity, whether we're talking about specifically DA, or we're talking about online marketing or offline marketing, home-based business, even people that start franchises, and anything entrepreneurial, anything outside of the mold of employee, right? Something where we're going to take on an enterprise, we're going to take on greater than normal risk, right? The employee doesn't risk. We're entrepreneurs. We're going to take on greater than normal risk for the purpose of profit, for the purpose of building an enterprise or enterprises. Yes, for the purpose of having more control in our lives, which quite often means we're going to work harder at the outset, right? Now we're not just some cog in the wheel. Now we are designing the wheel, right? And in the case like what we have here, we've got other wheel designers who we've got some nice leverage from. These are experts in their respective fields. You didn't have to make the product. You didn't have to man the the technical support desk or any of this kind of stuff. So you've got some nice leverage with other experts who are manning those posts. That's very nice. Okay, but again, the purpose of all this, the reason that you got started here, is the same reason that any entrepreneur starts a business, and that is to experience greater freedom and greater dominion over their life financially and otherwise, which is, as psychologists have said, where we experience this peace of mind. So it's all about having that experience, that satisfaction of, providing the lifestyle that we have decided that we and our family deserve, and demanding it, and doing something where we take on greater risk. That's what entrepreneurship is about. You can look it up in the dictionary. That's it. That's the definition. It is a person who takes on greater than normal risk to operate a business or businesses for the purpose of financial gain. That is what an entrepreneur is. So since we've assigned that to ourselves, and since we've decided that we're going to have greater control and freedom in our life, there's something that goes along with it, which is hand in hand, inextricably woven in with you having this control that you want to have in your life. And that is the R word. It's interesting sometimes seeing people's reaction when I talk about stuff like this in seminars and workshops and stuff. Now the entrepreneurs, the true entrepreneurs, get it. They immediately get it. It's like, yeah, of course. The pretenders, the people who they're kind of looking for something to be done for them, they don't get it. Okay, but I'm about to say something which you'll either resonate with or you won't. But either way, it's the truth. And as far as I'm concerned, it's irrefutable. I've seen empirically evidence of this over and over and over again in my life, in the lives of the thousands of people who I've mentored through the years as an entrepreneur and as a person who has built entrepreneurial teams and led sales groups and all this kind of stuff. And that is the R word. The R word is responsibility. Yes, responsibility. This is the thing that the pretender or the dilettante does not want to hear. But I'm here to tell you, you can have as much wealth and freedom and abundance in your life as you are willing to take responsibility for. Yes. Control and responsibility are inextricably woven together. So you want to have more freedom in your life, that means you're going to accept more responsibility for your life and the circumstances in it. Now notice I said you're going to accept more responsibility. You're not going to take more responsibility because it was always yours. You don't need to take it. You've already got it. You're just going to accept it. So I know that's a bit of semantics, okay? But what I'm offering you is that it's not like you need to make some new decision that you're going to take responsibility. It was always yours, okay? You said you wanted this freedom in your life. You said you wanted control and greater dominion over the circumstances that you're experiencing, right? Like, for example, financial circumstances. And we would like plentiful circumstances, right? We would like increase. We've already decided that all life moves towards increase. Okay, great. So since we're alive and we're moving towards increase and we've decided that's what we're going to do and we're going to have greater freedom and flexibility and control in our life, that means we're going to have to accept the responsibility for causing it to happen. And here's where a lot of people get tripped up. Right now, and it's been going on for some time, there is a rash of irresponsibility in our planet. Yes, irresponsibility. Do it for me, right? Or something or someone or some entity, some special something outside of me, they're special. You see, I'm not special, and they've got all the answers, right? And I need to do for me. Okay, but right there, as I just said that, does that sound like the talk of an entrepreneur who's making stuff happen, or does that sound like the talk of a customer? Yes, there's the time to be a customer, right? When I go to the store and I buy the product, I expect that somebody who's special, who knows how to make that product, did it for me. And I'm paying retail price for somebody to do it for me. And now I am the consumer of that thing. But I damn well better be the producer when it comes to me causing the money to occur in my life so I can go to the store and buy the thing from the special people who know how to make the thing. Now, nobody can make your business for you. Yes, we already covered this. We've got the leverage here. We've got other experts, manning their posts. That's very nice. That's very nice, but you still must accept the responsibility for manning your post. And what is the title of that post? What does it say on the front of your hat? It says marketer. That's what it says. And guess what? Great news. Guess what we learned here? Guess what we learned here in Digital Altitude? We learned marketing. Yes, sales and marketing, statistically the highest paid profession in the world. That's it, sales and marketing, okay? And you're going to get good at this. You're going to get good at this, and you know what? There's no comparison between the person who is attempting to succeed in life and in business without getting good at sales and marketing versus a person who does put their full attention on that specific activity. Yes, that specific activity, the whole sales process, which starts with marketing and advertising, driving traffic, right? And then the process of, yes, enlightening the prospect, the guest, the lead, right? Enlightening them as to the benefits that could be theirs should they choose to participate. That is a whole sales process. It's not an event. It's a process, you see? And you're going to get good at inducing that process. The marketing portion of that process is what happens on the front end, right? That is the act of going into the public and putting out the ads, impinging on their space, putting their attention on what you offer, increasing the demand for what you supply. That's the marketing aspect of the sales process, okay? And then it continues through that process to the point where a person who was prior living in ignorance, they did not know of the benefits that could be theirs, but now they've been enlightened, now they know, now they can participate. Yes, now they can transact business. They've got a reason to transact business, okay? That is the sales process. It is a process, literally, of enlightenment, okay? So you're going to take responsibility. I'm sorry, you're going to, I told you I was tired, you're going to accept responsibility for causing that process to happen more fully in your life and in the lives of others. Yes, you are going to induce others to make decisions that they have not previously made up to this point, right? As evidenced by their current circumstances. Because all circumstances are the results of the decisions we made before. Everything that you're experiencing in your life now is a result of what you decided in the past, what you did or did not do in the past. And yes, if we want more control and freedom in our life, we're going to have to accept more responsibility for the circumstances in our life. But you might say, John, I had no control over these circumstances. Oh, hold on a second there. That's the irresponsibility we're talking about. That's the victim thinking that keeps most people broke throughout their whole life. I am not responsible. They're not going to come out and say that, but they're going to point a finger, they're going to blame, they're going to play the victim over the circumstances that they co-created in their life based on their decisions or lack of decisions in the past leading up to this point. And I'm telling you, my friends, when I broke through that irresponsibility, yes, when I got out of victim thinking and some of it's very subtle. Very subtle. All these little blames. Anytime that I'm assigning someone else or something outside of me as the cause for my experiences, for my circumstances, as soon as I've done that, I've given up control and I've said, I'm not responsible. I am a victim. You're responsible. And I've therefore said, you're in control. Do you see this? Like I said before, control, freedom, right? Responsibility, it's all inextricably woven together. You have to accept the responsibility for your circumstances or for having co-created them. Yes, part of life is things that happen to you, but a big part of life, the bigger part, is how you react and respond to those things that happen to you. And you could see readily, I'm sure you know people in your life who just seem to, all the problems of life seem to befall upon them. They just attract, they're a crap magnet, okay? That's just, what's that about? Well, anybody who's been through at least 11 steps of the Aspire system, you got to see a little bit about what has been called the law of attraction, right? It's kind of like tuning into a radio frequency and experiencing whatever music is playing on that radio frequency, right? Now, of course, there's many radio stations playing right now wherever you happen to be. You can turn on a transistor radio and you can hear one of those radio stations, and it's whichever one that you tuned into that frequency. If you change the frequency, you get to hear a different music program, right? Or news or whatever is playing on that frequency. But they all exist right now in the air all around you. They're all right here, right now. But you get to experience one. It's the one that you're tuned into. So do you see how personal responsibility and putting yourself on a different frequency, we can say this is like the frequency of success, right? This is the whole law of attraction thing. You can see how you taking responsibility for your own thoughts, feelings, and actions will start to shape your circumstances. This is right out of As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, written in 1902, by the way, also out of copyright. That book should sell for $20,000. It's actually a little booklet. You can read it in one sitting. But just chapter 2 alone, the effect of thought on circumstances, that chapter alone is worth 20 grand. Download yourself a free copy of As a Man Thinketh. Go Google it. James Allen is the author. Okay? So what we're talking about here is the effect of thought on circumstances. This is our attitude. This is our attitude towards life. This is how we behave and how we occur towards life, how we respond to those things that happen to us, how we shape the circumstances that perhaps we were born into, and how we can make lemonade out of lemons. Thoughts, feelings, and actions. This is what makes up our attitude. You know that old cliche, your attitude determines your altitude? Man, that sounds corny. Well, guess what? What is attitude? It's a really good idea to understand the words that we're using. So attitude is the culmination of your thoughts, feelings, and actions. That's what shapes your circumstances. Are you willing, Mr. and Mrs. Entrepreneur, are you willing to accept responsibility for your thoughts, feelings, and actions? This is the main thing you get to have control of. And this is what will shape your circumstances, your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Okay, and that's why some people resonate, they're on the frequency, with problems befalling them at every turn. And some people seem to be really lucky. Or have they actually just tuned their mind into the profitable circumstances? Yes, they still have problems. We all have problems. I got different problems now than I had when I worked my job and was broke, right? These are different problems. I'll take these problems. I like these problems. You get to choose your problems here, right? Again, that just knowing that I'm going to choose a different set of problems, that puts who in control? That's me in control. Who's cause? I'm cause. I'm not effect. I'm cause, right? I'm responsible. I'm in control. And to whatever degree I can accept greater and greater responsibility, I get greater and greater control in my life. Think about this. Anything you put on autopilot, you lose control of. You drive in your car, you put it on cruise control, you have just assigned cause for the speed of that car to a machine. You are no longer driving the car, it is driving itself in terms of ground speed, okay? And you take it off cruise control, guess what? You just got control back, and now you are responsible for how fast it goes, okay? So if you want to have greater freedom, right, because once it's on cruise control, you can't change the speed. Now you can mash on the gas pedal, but you just effectively took it off cruise control. You get where I'm going with this? As long as somebody else or something outside of you is responsible, they're in control, their cause, not you, your effect. Okay? and you want to be more effective in your life and in your business, then you've got to be cause, because effects do not create effects. Only causes create effects. Okay, does that make sense? So I got somebody ringing me right now. Okay, so I'm in high demand over here. So here's the big question, though. Here's the big question. How do we accept this responsibility? How do we truly become more causative in our lives if our best thinking up to this point only got us this far and only got us these circumstances? Yeah, John, everything you're saying makes sense. Sounds good. Now what do I do? Give me some tools here, man. Okay, well, here's the tools, right? Because there's another thing that's inextricably woven in with this freedom that you want and this responsibility that you have decided you are willing to accept in your life for your own results and your own circumstances. And it's right there, and it's kind of hidden in what I just said, okay? And that is that you're going to have to learn some stuff because your best thinking only got you this far, but not further. Yes, you're going to have to gain some knowledge. And once again, how fortuitous that we find ourselves in a program here known as DA where we get to, what? We get to learn some stuff. And the stuff that we get to learn is pretty damn empowering, right? We already talked about the value of understanding what, sales and marketing is about, highest paid profession, right? How about when we get together on these calls and hear, some inspiring idea? Does that not improve you as a being, as a person, as a thinker, as an entrepreneur, as an individual, as a person who is responsible for steering your own ship? It sure does, right? And every time we add to our own base of knowledge and we apply that knowledge and it becomes wisdom, right? Wisdom is applied knowledge. It's another saying you'll hear kicked around a lot is, knowledge is power. No, it's not. Applied knowledge is power. That's called wisdom, right? That means you did something with the knowledge. It's not somebody else's knowledge anymore. Now it's your knowledge because you've got an experiential knowledge. You really know it. You don't just believe it. You really know it because you did something with it, right? So you're going to learn some stuff. You're going to learn things that can make you more money and make you a more causative individual inside and outside of your business. As you are in your business is how you are in life, right? There's not one part of you over here and like there's a different you over there. It's you we're talking about here, right? We're empowering the individual. And the individual in this case happens to run a business, which is a very lucrative business, okay? So this individual, known as you, is going to learn some stuff and gain the knowledge and wisdom to thereby be able to accept the greater responsibility and experience the greater freedom that you want in your life. So the foundation of all of the freedom that you're looking for, and through the responsibility that you will accept for it, the basis for all of it is you knowing something that you didn't know yesterday. You cannot give what you have not got. You're here to be a master marketer. You're here to be an expert. You're here to have influence in the online marketplace. Well, you can't just be some newbie who just showed up and, somebody else figured everything out for you and you don't have to know anything and like some magic system's going to do everything for you. Again, this does not invalidate the leverage that we get through the systems and the different experts that we have at the different posts. Okay, that's all very valid. That's all very nice. But there has to be somebody at the helm steering the ship of your business. And that person has to be someone of benefit in the marketplace, which means you're going to learn something that will benefit you and benefit everyone that you touch on your journey here. Going back to Wallace Wiles, the impression of increase. When somebody confronts you on the internet because they saw your advertisement, they read your email, they found your social media post, whatever, do they feel like they have been increased? Is their life better now that they've met you? The answer should be yes, every single time. Every single time. The answer should be yes. That's the impression of increase. Wallace Wattles in his book talked about even if you're selling a piece of candy to a child, right, for a penny or 2 cents or whatever the price was back in the 1910. Okay, even then you're selling a piece of candy to a child, that child should feel appreciated, like he got a sense of increase from the interaction, from the transaction, right? Something as inconsequential as that, right? The impression of increase. Well, you'll increase others because you'll know more than them. Remember I talked about sales as being a process. and it's a process of enlightenment, and that you cannot give what you have not got. Therefore, you cannot enlighten other people about things you don't know, right? You've got to know, and then others have a chance to know. Now, if they meet you and you don't know nothing, and they don't know nothing, you lose and they lose. Everybody loses. So it's either you win and they have a chance to win, or you lose and they've got no shot at winning, right? This is how important your success is, and you deliberately augmenting your knowledge. That means learning stuff, right? You deliberately causing yourself to be an expert in your chosen calling. Now, Napoleon Hill, in his classic book, Think and Grow Rich, talked about how two people, this is in the chapter on organized planning, by the way. He said two people, oh, I'm sorry, I'm quoting the wrong book. This is right out of my head, and again, I'm running on little sleep. He said, aha, here it is. He said, generally speaking, there are two kinds of people in the world. One is known as leaders and the other as followers. He said, decide at the outset whether you intend to become a leader in your chosen field or remain a follower. The difference in compensation is vast. The follower cannot reasonably expect the pay to which a leader is entitled, although many followers make the mistake of expecting such pay. Isn't that a great quote? And the reason I know that verbatim is because I've read it hundreds of times. It's powerful, powerful quote. And we get here into online marketing, back to the point of irresponsibility, massive irresponsibility, not just here in online marketing, but in the world, right? I want to remain a follower. I want you to do something for me, but I want leadership pay. Well, that's some good talk, but again, who's in control? Whose cause in that situation, right? So you got to decide at the outset, Napoleon Hill said, decide at the outset whether you intend to become a leader in your chosen calling or remain a follower. And yes, many people who are followers make the mistake of expecting leadership pay. But I'll tell you what, my friends, we're dealing with capital, we're dealing with free enterprise over here, right? You get to write your own check. And to the degree that you become powerful, in fact, Tatiana talked about this, I think it was last week on Tuesday, where she talked about that your pay will be in direct proportion to the value that you provide in the marketplace, right? And things like how hard it would be to replace you, right? So think about that, the quality of your service, your ability to deliver that service, the difficulty there would be in replacing you. These are things that cause you to stand head and shoulders above your so-called competition. You can't do any of that if you don't know more and you don't have increased ability. Increased ability in your business equals increased freedom and dominion over your income. And all of that is based on what you know. So you see, we can't remain ignorant and we can't remain chronically irresponsible. We must accept the responsibility and we must cling on to this and learn everything we possibly can to be the best we can possibly be and provide the greatest possible service that we possibly can in the marketplace. I've got a student who I'm coaching here named Antonio. Antonio, if you're listening, hello, sir. And this guy, he goes through each module, each step of the Aspire business system, learning from Michael. And when we get on our calls, I'm like, all right, Antonio, what'd you learn about this step? And he can almost recite verbatim what Michael said, right? Here's a guy who wants it. Here's a guy who is soaking this up like his life depends on it. At least that's my impression of Antonio, okay? And I can tell you that when I got started in this industry, I was soaking it up like my life depended on it, right? Especially when I put tens of thousands of dollars into a business, which I damn well better make it work now. You see, that's accepting responsibility, that's taking control, right? And that's now learning things as if my life depends on it so I can execute. Yes. So it's not just me consuming, hey, great, here's some money, let me buy the products. That's fine. That's only half the story though, right? Now I got to go not just inflow, now I've got to outflow. Not just receive benefits of the products, but now put forth benefits into the marketplace and yes, collect profit. That's what we're talking about, right? So all this is based on your ability to get the job done. There you go, right? Now, when it comes to learning stuff, here we are in some ways like learning a new language, right? I mean, if you were already good at sales and marketing, you'd already be writing your own check, right? So nobody came here because they were rolling in a pile of cash in their living room and they already knew everything about doing sales and marketing, right? Otherwise, you would have never joined this deal. You've arrived already. You're already satisfied with your results, right? I don't know too many people who get started in top-tier direct sales because they're looking for a hobby. I've got hobbies. They don't make me money. Hobbies cost money, right? Businesses make money. That's what they're designed to do, right? Even people who make money at things that other people call a hobby, they've become professionals in those hobbies, right? Professional golfers get paid to golf. The rest of us pay to golf, right? So that's the difference between a hobby and a profession, okay? That's the difference between a pro and an amateur. So we got to learn some stuff, like I said, but it's kind of Greek to a lot of people. It's kind of like a new language. We've never heard this before. Some of you on here right now, perhaps you're new to this whole conversation. This is your first Black Diamond call or something. You just got started yesterday. Welcome. Glad you're here. Okay, but this is like, you've never heard anybody talk like this John Lavinia guy before. Nobody talks like this at your job. Nobody dares say things like, we've got massive irresponsibility and victimhood in society. Can you believe how politically incorrect? But like I said before, I'd rather help you be successful and get a little uncomfortable than just be comfy and stay broke, right? I mean, that's not why I do what I do. So here we've got a different conversation going on. You're going to get into marketing. You're going to be learning a different language, right? Hey, what's the CPC on that ad campaign? What the hell is he talking about, right? Well, in terms of the cost per acquisition, at this level of the product line, and then once we get into the lifetime value that comes through the ascension model, what the hell is this guy talking about? Well, for any seasoned marketer who's listening right now, you didn't just sign up yesterday. You know exactly what I was just talking about, exactly what I meant by lifetime value, ascension model, cost per acquisition, CPC, which stands for cost per click. So right there, I just revealed one of the first things that will stop you from gaining the freedom in your life, from being able to accept the responsibility you need to accept to be able to have that freedom in your life, and to be able to learn the things that will allow you to accept the responsibility in the first place. And the first thing that I just revealed is that you don't understand what you're talking about. You don't know the language. I remember when I started playing guitar, and I was learning from instructor on DVD. Right, and I was not understanding the scales, right? Where here's a master guitarist, and they know the scales, right? They can go and hit the stuff really fast, and it sounds musical. It sounds good. They don't have to think about it. They don't even have to look at the guitar. They know this stuff, and they know where the E note is, right? You've got the different notes of the musical spectrum there. So they know where the E is all over the fretboard. It's a different place. It's in a couple of places on each string. It's like 6 different instruments in one. How does he know where the E is? And he says, now look, this is like learning a language. You know your alphabet, right? Right? You understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. It's because you understood these words. You've got the alphabet. Well, it's the same thing on the guitar, right? People who know how to read music, they learn the alphabet of that stuff. They learned, A, and B flat and all this. They learned that stuff. So you're learning a new language. And you got to go at the pace. Now, the more you practice, the more you're going to learn it. So one of the things that trips people up, now we get into online marketing, okay, learning this language, a lot of times people will assume they know the meanings of what their coach or their sponsor or some guru they found online, they'll assume they understand what this person's talking about. I'm going to tell you that the number one thing that will take you out, that will ruin your shot at gaining the freedom that you want in your life, is blowing right past ideas that you do not understand. If you're new, that's fine. If you remain new because you didn't fully get the meaning of what the teacher was saying, then you have just destroyed yourself. You cannot remain ignorant to the lingo, the language, the ideas that represent the actions that you must take in this business to become successful. You must become fluent in this language as if your life depends on it. Now, you don't have to think about, like this conversation right now, there's maybe a couple of words you might have to look up that I spoke already on this call. I attempt to not come out with, the whole dump truckload of vocabulary here, right? Because we got some people, English is their second language, right? You might be struggling with some of the words that I'm putting out here. But the point is that if I say a word or if somebody says a word that you don't understand, get yourself a copy of the best self-help book ever written, which is the dictionary, and look up the damn words, right? You can even do that online, right? Fully get the meaning of what you're studying, or you are going to be out, and you're going to be frustrated, and you're not going to have the freedom you're looking for. It's all based on your knowledge, right? You got to increase that knowledge. You got to know more, okay? Otherwise, if you already knew it, you would have already reached your goals, okay? So we're going to learn some stuff. The number one thing that takes people out, they're learning a new language, and they don't stop to read the dictionary, okay? So whatever that means for you, right, you should be able to be in the conversation as if you were originating it yourself. Study everything as if you had to teach it. Study everything as if you had to turn around and teach it to somebody else. You do not understand the subject until you can teach it to somebody else. That's why there's a few coaches and lots of people coming in, lots of affiliates, right? Because coaches have studied things to the point where they can teach it themselves. Now, some of our top affiliates, they could certainly be coaches. They've chosen a different post. Their post is affiliate marketing. That's cool. That doesn't mean they're not knowledgeable. But there's no way they're getting in the coach's seat if they don't have the knowledge, if they can't teach it to somebody else. See, that's a qualification. So I'm going to ask you to assume that you must be that qualified, right? And when you attack a subject with that commitment, right, that not only do you need to know it so that you've got it in your head, but you need to know it so that you can use it. That's the bridge between knowledge and wisdom. But you also need to know it so you can teach it to others so that they can know it and use it. Now that's mastery. Now you're in the conversation. Now you're learning, okay? That'll never happen if you don't understand the words, if you don't understand the meaning of what we're talking about, okay? Don't think this is silly. What I'm telling you here, this destroys people, okay? So definitely get full understanding of everything you study here. The second thing, and I've seen this again and again, you know, some people know that I've got a mechanical background. In fact, I was just talking to my buddy Matt about this, another student here. Hey, Matt, if you're listening. And I've got a mechanical background, and I used to be a master diagnostician. I know a lot about engines and, you know, why things break and why things work. And, you know, it's an interesting field if you want to make 40 grand a year. And, you know, I did for a while. And then I got into business, okay? But the thing about that field is that there's a lot to know. You know, I have the ability, or at least I did all those years ago, I had the ability to take a pile of parts and make an engine out of them. Pile of parts on the floor, I can build you an engine. Assuming that it's all the right parts, you know, for that engine. It was just disassembled. It wasn't like random parts from other stuff, okay? But I could put an engine together. I could put a car together. I could do that. Yep, I've done it. And it ran. It was good. It was good. Now, did I show up as a mechanic on day one and here you go, John, here's the parts and go ahead and put the engine together? No. No, that would be biting off way too much all at once, right? My training started with things like metallurgy. And this, my friends, is steel. This is iron. It's softer than steel. You can bend it. This is aluminum. It heats up at a different rate than the steel. And you see, these are all different kinds of metals that you're going to be confronting as you start to do this mechanical work. So let's look at the metals, right? Let's see what these metals are. Can you tell me what kind of metal this is, John? Oh, well, this is aluminum. Very good. Can you tell me, Bob, you know what this metal is? Oh, this is case hardened steel. Ah, that's correct, right? So now we get into things like, what do we make out of these metals? Oh, well, we make nuts and bolts, right? So you see, this is a gradient that we're walking up here. Very basic at first, right? But you would never get to make the engine if you didn't first understand, you know, that the steel nut goes into the bolt, and, you know, actually the bolt would go into the nut. Again, I'm running out a little sleep here. And, you know, the reason why we use aluminum for that part is because it heats up differently than the steel, right? So, and it's lighter, right? So we would have never gotten to the point where here's a pile of parts on the floor, make me an engine. We would have never gotten to that point had we not first understood, here's how nuts and bolts work, and here's what they're made out of. Am I making a point? The point is that there's a gradient to learning. And sometimes we come into business like this and we see the spectacular story of the testimonial. Somebody just made $1 million. Hey, that's spectacular. They didn't just show up yesterday. And so a lot of times people have this false expectation of that they should be further along than they are. And this whole idea of getting frustrated or discouraged, right? Because they're still learning the language. They're still learning what nuts and bolts are, and they think they should be at the top of the mountain already. Okay, you got to give yourself a break. And again, you've got to make sure that you've mastered things on the lower portion of the mountain. I'll use Michael Force's analogy here of the mountain, right? We've got digital altitude. We're climbing up the mountain. We're gaining altitude. Well, you can't rise unless you've already left the base camp, right? So first you got to experience the base camp. Okay, you got to have the hot cocoa or whatever they're making at the base camp, and then you grab your can of chili and you start climbing. Right, you're rising now, and you ascend and peak and apex. Right, so you get higher and higher on the gradient. Ultimately, you're at the top. Same thing. This is the black diamond call, right? So what is a black diamond? The black diamond is an expert level ski run. I live in Utah, so I'm very familiar with this, right? And so I got my snowboard, and here's the green trails. They're called the bunny trails. They're for learners, right? And children and adults as well who have never skied or snowboarded before. They're on the green trails, and it's a very mild gradient. Very slow, very mild. They're going to fall down. They'll stand right back up. Okay, once you've done that, there's intermediate. Those are blue, right? If you look at a ski trail map, you'll see that they're blue, right? Those are the blue trails. That's intermediate. It's a little bit more of a gradient, right? You get to go a little faster, right? Maybe even hit a jump here and there. Okay, great. And then you got the black diamond. Okay, the black diamond is steep gradient, fast, expert level. Then you've also got double black diamond, which is for full-blown like pro or suicidal person or whatever, So I personally, I stay off double blacks, okay? I like black diamonds. I don't like double blacks. They're usually full of bumps and moguls, and you got to be like, and I'm on a snowboard, which is not fun on moguls. But anyway, you get the point. You don't show up for ski lessons on day one, and they take you to the double black diamond. No, okay? So proper gradient. Okay, so that's the next thing that you'll find is going to stop people is when they're biting off too much all at once and they don't have the basics yet and they're trying to build the whole damn engine. They're still figuring out what nuts and bolts are. Okay, so go at the pace that serves you. Go quickly, but do not attempt to bite off too much all at once. And when it comes to marketing, what does that look like? Well, that looks like mastering one or two methods at a time. Right? Ones that you're most inclined to enjoy doing. Now, a lot of people, they start with like solo ads, solo advertising. You can master that pretty much in a day because all you got to do is make sure you know what your link is and, pay the advertiser to publish your ad via the email list, and you're going to get the clicks. It's pretty much done for you. There's not a whole lot you need to master. Sure, you need to vet, who the providers are. You don't want to get ripped off, right? There's a lot of riffraff that goes on in the online marketing world. But as far as the act of doing solo advertising, as an advertiser yourself, not as a publisher, right, not as a provider, but as the customer, it's pretty much done for you, right? So that would be one paid method, and you can kind of see what works and scale up what does. Oh, I like that provider. I like that kind of traffic. I like this squeeze page, right? Maybe you don't even know what a squeeze page is, right? So maybe that's one of the things you're going to master is what is a squeeze page and how do I make one, right? Now, on the free advertising side, maybe we're going to get into a social media forum, right, like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or YouTube videos or whatever you want to do. Notice I said or, not and, right? Too steep a gradient. So we're going to pick one. Pick one. You like it? Do it a few times. See if you like it. If you like it, great. Do more of that. You don't like it? Go try a different one. Okay? But don't try and be all things to all people all at once. Okay? So that's the second thing I want to make sure you know about creating this expanded knowledge that's going to allow you to be more responsible and therefore have more freedom and control in your life. The third thing that I will tell you is that, and this is a lot of people are in the training space are guilty of this, is that where you've got a student, let's say I'm a student, okay, and I'm going to learn something like the guitar. And so here's somebody I'm listening to, let's say an audio program that's telling me about guitars and telling me about how they have 6 strings. Well, some have 7, some even have 8 these days. And they're telling me about how to hold a pick, right? Here's the guitar pick that you want to hold it, between your thumb and your index finger. But, there's other variations of picking, and there's other ways to use your fingers on the fretboard. And they're giving me all this theory. They're telling me and telling me and telling me I'm getting theory. I've never touched the guitar. Never touched the guitar. I've got all a head full of theory. I've got no practical application whatsoever. I may not even know what a guitar looks like yet. I haven't seen one yet. All I did was hear the theory about it. So this, again, in a subjective field such as online marketing, there's another trap you could fall in where you get a whole lot of theory, right? Let's say you're going through your RISE program and Michael Force is talking with you about marketing psychology. Hey, that's good theory, man. That's great. Great stuff. You got to have the theory. You got to know why this stuff works. Again, I had a mechanical background. I got to know why the nuts and bolts work, right? Otherwise, what am I doing? Why? Why would I even do this? Right? So you got to know why. And that's the theory. Here's why this stuff works. Okay, that's great. That's good philosophy, man. I love philosophy. But now we've got to apply it. Like I said right at the beginning of the call, my truth doesn't help you. If it's not alive in your life, it's just entertainment, okay? So now you take the theory that you learned, now that you understand the words, and you're working with a proper gradient of knowledge, now you go and you apply what you learned. You touch the computer. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there's the keyboard, there's the mouse. You will now touch the computer, okay? That's the first part of practical application. And now you're going to click on the thing, as was described in the lesson, which gave you the theory about how this all works, right? I remember when I was first learning about solo ads. This was years ago. I didn't even know what a solo ad was. I heard in theory, here's a solo ad, here's how you can buy it, right? Well, where do you buy these from? How much money should I invest in a solo ad at first? What is a test campaign, right? And then I did it, right? I had somebody showed me. Now, here's a solo ad provider, and you click here, okay? And then you put your link. You see, you put your link that you want the traffic to go to. You put it here where it says enter link, okay? And you click submit, and then they're going to get you an email back, and they're going to tell you, yeah, your ad's approved. We're going to go ahead and start the traffic next week, and all this. And now I can order a solo ad in my sleeve, right? But a solo ad, if all you know is the theory, even the theory itself, what the hell is a solo ad? What are you even talking about? Right? So first we got to get understanding of what those words mean, right? And then we've actually got to touch it. We've actually got to do it. I would have never become, back to the mechanical example, I would have never become a master diagnostician had I not touched the metal, right? Had I not put together this part of the engine, right? And then ultimately be able to put together the whole engine. If it was theory alone, then when I saw the parts on the floor, I wouldn't have known what to do with them. I heard the whole story about it. I sat through the class, but I never got to touch the metal. All I got was the theory. You see, this is the third thing, and this is why you want to apply the learn, do, teach method. Remember before I said study things as if you had to teach them to somebody else? Well, great. In between learning them and teaching them, do it. Do it. And if you get stopped in part of the doingness of it, then go back to the theory and see what didn't you understand about this theory. You missed something. You missed some words. You didn't understand the language. Or the teacher was incompetent, one or the other, okay? But still, if you're not understanding how to apply that information, and if you're not able to apply it practically, right, pragmatically, using your hands, right, not just your brain, well then you've got to disconnect. You've got to disconnect. And this is where people just load themselves down with theory, and now they're going to go out there and be like an online marketing guru or something because they're going to regurgitate some theory. And we live, my friends, in the age of misinformation, the blind leading the blind, okay? So you're very, very fortunate to be here in this environment here where, hey, I'm just not motivated to pretend to be an expert at things that I'm not, right? Now, when it comes to personal development and success philosophy and things like that, I've been studying this stuff for 30 years. I'm a friggin' authority in this area. I am an authority. Now, when it comes to the nuances of, social media marketing, I am not the authority, okay? Great news for everybody here who at least has the RISE program. You also get access to Social Media Marketing University. Guess what those people are? They're authorities, right? If they want advice on philosophy, they'll come to me, man. I know that stuff. If I want advice on Facebook, I'll go to them. You see? So we've got a lot of people, not here in this community, but just in the world in general, running their mouths about their opinions, which aren't even valid. The blind leading the blind. So stick with your mentors, your coaches, your people who you've been exposed to in this community, which has broken every record in the direct sales industry just in our first 10 months. Something's working here, my friends. Cling to this. Learn it to the point where you can demonstrate it. You can do it. You can apply it practically, not just in theory, but apply it practically. And the first time you apply it, you're just applying it to see if you know how to do it. The next couple of times you're applying it to see if you like it. Or if you want to move on to something else, like, I don't like this Facebook thing, I'm going to go do Twitter or something. Okay, fine. right? But you don't even have a qualified opinion about whether or not you like a method until you've done it a few times. First few times just to learn how to do it, right? Because the theory alone didn't teach you. It's the practical application. And then once you've done that a few times, then you can have an opinion about it. And your opinion will be worth something to yourself and to anybody else. But now you've learned and now you've done, now you're qualified to teach. You see that? That's the proper gradient of learning. And when you do this, my goodness, you'll become valuable in the marketplace. The impression of increase that you will be able to offer to other people, knowing or unknowing, right? You don't know who you're going to affect. You don't know whose paths you're going to cross. You don't know whose lives you're going to be changing. I've worked with thousands of people, thousands of entrepreneurs through my years. And I still have people that meet me at an event, at a convention or something where I'm at. Oh, John Lavinia, I remember that thing you said, back in 2003 on the call. It's like, really? You remember that? Changed my life, man. I had no idea they were listening. How do you know whose lives you're going to affect? But I will tell you this. The more influential you become in your own life and in the lives of others, not only the more profit you'll make, but the more of benefit that you'll be indirectly applying into society. Yes, the more people become more causative because they met somebody like you or me who are on the path, who are doing the thing, who are self-reliant, who are responsible, and yes, who are demonstrating control and freedom in their lives, and you empowered others. Now we've changed society. And it happens one person at a time, and quite often we don't even know who's listening. I'll tell you, if you're a parent, you damn well better know at least somebody who's listening, and that's your kids. Okay? So yet another reason to really get good at this. Not just talk, but to really get good at it. Okay? Because people are watching, and they're important people. As a father, that's how I think about it, right? I got my 6-year-old girl over here. What am I demonstrating to her about how to live? That's one of the reasons I didn't have a child until I was 40. It's like, oh man, I need to learn some stuff about life, before I subject, some dependent to my best thinking. Anyway, hey guys, I thought I was going to talk for a half hour. It's been double that. My goodness. Let's go ahead and open this up for questions and comments. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to open up the lines. If you're joining us live here on the call, I'd love to hear from you. We can have a few words together, right? We can have a little fun. I can't solve your support ticket request, though. If you're new here and you're trying to contact your coach or support or something, I can't do that for you. Okay, but what we can do is we can have a conversation about what we were just talking about here tonight. Okay, so if you'd like to participate, you're certainly welcome to do that. I'm going to go ahead and put it into Q&A mode. Okay, Q&A session has started, which means you can click *6 to raise your hand, and then it will ask you if you'd like to confirm that by pressing 1 or cancel by pressing 2, I think is the command. And if you're on the app, if you're joining us live on the dalivecall.com using the app, then there's a little microphone mute and unmute button that you can press, and they'll do the same function. And Kelly is our first contestant. You are our first contestant on the Black Diamond Show. Hey, Kelly, how are you?
Good, real good. Can you hear me?
I can. You can tell I'm getting a little delirious over here. Hey, Kelly, welcome to the game show. What's going on?
Nothing wrong with that. Well, I think we're all a little silly. Well, here I am. It's almost 10, so I can't blame you for being a little silly now. I guess my first question wasn't really a question. I was just calling to say that I purchased my first solo ad. I'm excited about that, and I'm also trying a new program on Facebook that I learned about in the back office. It's 22, oh sugar, now I lost it and I can't remember the name of it, 22 Social. I just wanted to put that out there in case anyone else was new, like me. I'm a newbie. It's really neat. You can make a web page on your Facebook page. I never knew you could do that. So it's just some neat stuff that I found, and I'm just real excited about the program and trying to tune in for all the information that I can, and just learning so much from you, and I just wanted to really thank you.
Oh, Kelly, thank you for the acknowledgement. Thank you. Like I said before, I didn't even know who's listening, and now I know you're listening. Kelly, thank you for listening. That's great. Welcome to the team. Kelly, I'll look forward to seeing you in Maui in a few months.
Absolutely. I'm definitely going to be there. I'm so stoked.
Awesome
I
stuff.
think it's just going to be great to meet everybody, for real in person, put faces to the names, and I think it's just going to be fabulous.
Fantastic. Thanks again, Kelly. Thanks for getting us started. We'll go to our next caller, which is Augusto Duke, or is it Duke Augusto? Either one. Hello, sir.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good. Is it Augusto or Duke?
It's Duke.
Hey, Duke. I had your last name first. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right, man. I just wanted to share something about what you was talking about. The other day I was, I go through the emails that I read from Michael Force, and from those of you that don't know, they just put up, like a new blog site where they share a lot of different strategies on building your business and personal development stuff. So I've just been following that on top of what I've already been doing. And one of the things that had stood out to me, I was on the train the other day and I was looking at it and talked about commitment, right? The commitment, just to relate to what you were saying. And he talked about the famous Japanese swordsman, Miyamoto Musashi, right? And for those of you who don't know who he is, he was a famous Japanese swordsman. He had about 60-something one-on-one duels, killed every single one of his opponents. He's never lost. And one of the things that he said was, if you master one thing, you master 10,000. So what did he mean by that? And he meant that he didn't try to master swordsmanship, calligraphy, and painting all at the same time. He wound up mastering swordsmanship first and then naturally mastered painting and calligraphy. So based on what you were saying and how that stood out to me is that what's been working for me is that, when you master that one thing and you stick to it, that one single method, and you apply it, because just like you said, like, knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. You have wisdom, and you could bring that same wisdom to other disciplines and master them the same way, And that, when I learned about that right there was a major, game shift changer for me. And, other disciplines that I've studied, just like you studied mechanics, I studied, information security for, over the years, and became obsessed with that subject. But I dropped it because I wanted to learn sales and marketing because, that'll only probably pay you $100K a year, but, of course, I want to make a lot more than that. Mm-hmm. But, just to touch on that, when I started with information security and how it relates to business, a lot of people get into that field and they automatically want to know, how to, what are the latest strategies to break into, systems and unsecure networks, and they don't want to start with the basics. When I started just learning how to do basic programming, basic programming, learning Python, learning a little bit of Java, learning a little bit of different languages here and there, and also started with, learning how to write basic batch file viruses, right? So, from there, building that base.
I don't know what that is. So
yeah.
If I was learning that subject from you, I'd say stop.
Yeah. But
what? Right. So exactly.
Yeah, batch file. But that's just basic stuff. But what I'm saying is, just to get to what I was saying was, once I learned how to do that, I learned how to write applications that could allow you to take advantage of weaknesses in other software applications, and how to spot those weaknesses, how to write malware, and how to modify it to bypass antivirus engines. And that took me 3 years to learn, right? Just like you study mechanics and metallurgy. And, I tried to learn it all in one shot in the beginning, and I became frustrated. Mm-hmm. And I stopped for several weeks, and then I said, well, I need to go back to the basics. And when I went back to the basics and I learned it, and then I came back to the advanced material, it was much more clearer to me. So I realized I have to do that with internet marketing. I have to start from, you have to start from the basics, learn the material, get fluent in the fundamentals, and then as you study the advanced stuff, it will become clearer to you, and you'll be able to become more fluent and become more of a leader and authority in what you do. And also wanted to touch base on what you said a few calls back about, success is a progression of an ideal, quoted by Earl Nightingale. And it's not about the money or the cars, but the tasks that you do every single day. If you drive one solo ad that day, or if you build a page that day, you're considered successful because you did that task. So that really helped me out a lot, instead of, being focused on money in the cars all the time, but just progression of what I'm trying to do. So that's what I pretty much learned. That's what worked for me. That's one of my truths, and I hope some people here can take from that.
Bravo. Duke, thank you, man. Thank you. Obviously, you got mileage out of that because you just quoted it, right? Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal, which is what? It's dependent on your integrity, not how many dollars did you make in this moment, right? I mean,
right.
Oh, beautiful stuff, man. Thank you. I'm inspired. That is great. And everybody, you heard Duke. He actually demonstrated what I was talking about with, he tried to bite off too much. And then, like, he mentioned a word or a phrase that I didn't even know what that was, right? Now, what if I was sitting in his class and he was talking about the batch virus thing or whatever it was? I'm gone. I'm out of that class already, man. So, yeah, Duke, great talk. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
wow,
yeah,
this is a great call. What a great call.
You inspired me, man. You.
Thank you. All right. Let's go on to our next contestant, which is Ricky. Ricky, you're live on the air.
Awesome. Hey, John. I want to ask, knowing what you know now about affiliate marketing or online marketing, if you had to start again, what would you do now that you didn't before?
I joined Digital Altitude. Yeah, man, there's a lot of ways to waste time on the internet, and this ain't one of them. You are in the right spot. But I suspect that you were asking me, you're looking for a more rich answer, so maybe you can rephrase the question. Like some specific action that I would have taken, or like what do you want to know?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, like, yeah, there's just so much stuff out there. I guess anything that you kind of know that would really put someone ahead of the game, and just kind of like not even like allow anybody to kind of waste time on a lot of things.
Right. Yeah. Well, here's what's coming up for me, Ricky. I've got a lot of experience in sales and marketing, and some of that experience was not terribly fruitful. And that's because I didn't know enough. I had to learn some stuff, but also, in my case, I was attempting to work with things that were not profitable and that I wasn't passionate about. So when I was first getting onto this path of entrepreneurship, I was susceptible to being more of a follower than a leader, and other people who occurred to me as more successful than me, because maybe they were making a six-figure income or something. I was kind of living at the effect of what they thought, rather than, just making my own decisions. So I had to, again, I had to learn some stuff to be, I think, even qualified to do my own due diligence, because at first nobody's qualified. It's funny too, Ricky, when you hear people sometimes, they say, well, I need to go do my due diligence on this opportunity, and yet they've never made money in an opportunity like this before, so they're not even qualified for due diligence. Like, their opinion doesn't really mean anything. Hopefully they find somebody trustworthy, right? Like somebody here who can go ahead and give them a real opportunity, right? Because they don't even know what they're looking at. But that was the main thing for me, is that I was attempting to fit myself into a mold that was based on what other people thought I should be doing. And when I got hooked up with top-tier direct sales, which is obviously the space that we're playing in here, with information products, which is obviously what our product line is based on, and because they were information products, which I'm passionate about learning, I'm into education. I've been studying for years, and here I am in top-tier direct sales, and we've got a product that we can actually make some money on. Okay, not like what I was attempting to do before, which is, hey, this bottle of vitamins. Other people might be passionate about it. I wasn't passionate about it. And they might be happy making $5. I'm not happy making $5, right? So here is a product that I'm like, yeah, this is going to change my life. It's going to change other people's lives, and we can make thousands of dollars on it. Sign me up for that, right? And so when I got into top-tier direct sales, everything changed for me because, again, this is just my personal experience. It's because it was a product I could be passionate about and something we can make some real money on. It was significant. It was relevant. It wasn't just like, oh, by the way, here's a product, so we can do business. Does that help, Ricky? I don't know if
Yeah.
that's what you're asking, but that's
Yeah,
what's
it
coming up for
definitely
me.
helps. I have one more. I mean, like, I'm going to, like, the marketing events and all that. I noticed myself kind of going through some kind of hubs or blogs, just trying to get information. Do you recommend free information or paid information? Because I know some of the people that write it, it's again in theory, and they're not exactly in the shoes to be talking a lot of this info. And then there's some people that obviously are doing it, and they're the leaders, and that's kind of where I'm heading to when I do my research.
Right.
But I find a lot of stuff that I can pay like $20 or so for them to kind of update me. But like, do you think that's even necessary, or?
I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to, although I can tell you that you've got everything you need here with DA.
Okay.
In terms of like how-to training, and I mean, my goodness, we got an Ascend event coming up. We had a marketing mastery event a couple months ago. We've got the RISE program. We got Social Media Marketing University. You got the On the RISE trainings. You got the traffic coach trainings that happen every week. If you're Ascend or above, you also get a private traffic coach. Of course, you got a scale up or a senior coach. As you're going through the higher steps of Aspire. Like how much more? Like there's no more secrets. So it's not like you're lacking something. You need to go get something from somebody else. You got it all right here.
Okay.
And then as far as like the evaluation of the workability of some teaching, you just got to try it on. Now in my field, as a guy who's an author and I've read lots of books, prior to writing my own book, I got to the point where I transitioned from just accepting everything I read to trying it on in my life to see about separating, the wheat from the chaff. And I found that a lot of the modern self-help books, which is my genre, it's maybe one or two good points in the whole book that they regurgitated from somebody else, and 250 pages of filler and just nonsense. And actually getting to that point where I started to discern and discriminate between that which I found workable and usable versus stuff that I shouldn't have bought in the first place, that actually caused me to write my first book, because I was reading a book where some guy was talking about how you should just be okay if you're not successful in this area of your life because, everybody's got limitations and I'm okay and you're okay. I'm like, screw you, man. It is not okay. So the first chapter I wrote, I don't know if you've read Integrity is Everything, but yeah, my first chapter I wrote in my book was It's Not Okay. That was the title of the first chapter I wrote. Now I put it later in the book, because had I come out swinging like that, I don't know what the reader would have experienced, but yeah, that was like the thing that finally got me to write the book, was I was so tired of reading the friggin' drivel that passes as like a best-selling self-help book these days. So yeah, a bit of discernment is definitely in order.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ricky, man. Thank you. We're having a fun time here tonight. Let's go. Our next caller, Ricky. Thank you for sharing. Let's go to Joy. You're live on the air. Joy Gardner.
Hello. My mom actually just went outside to take the dogs out.
Joy's son, you are live on the air. What would you like to tell us about the dogs?
Well, the dogs are cute. They're lovely. They're brother and sister. But anyway, we are very interested in this program and very excited. Can you give me just a second to go get her?
Yeah, what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and take the next caller, and then when she comes back, she can raise her hand again, because we do have to wrap up the call in a few minutes. So no worries, go grab her and just have her raise her hand again.
Right now.
I had to let the dogs out real quick.
Oh, hey, there's Joy. Hi, Joy. How are the dogs?
Hey, it's going great. Yeah, somebody at the beginning had missed the name of the book. I got the name of the author, that Wallace C. Waddle or Waddell.
Wallace D. Waddles. I'll write it in the chat roll here. We do have a chat roll, by the way. I can't talk and read at the same time, though, so that's why I don't see the chat roll until we're done. So it's Wallace D. Waddles, and the title of the book is Science of Getting Rich. Whoops, I wrote Rich T. So sorry about that, little mistype there. So Science of Getting Rich, Wallace D. Waddles, 1910. And yeah, it's one of the classics. It's got a little bit of a Western religious slant, and but it's a short read, and so no matter what your somebody else says here, you can listen to the audiobook on YouTube. Thank you, Antoinette. That's the other thing you guys could do. Let's say you don't have a copy of a book that you're thinking about you should read. Go to YouTube and, like, for example, Think and Grow Rich. I think you'll find every language of Think and Grow Rich. Here are people that have posted, like, 4-hour-long videos of them reciting the entire book in, Mandarin or in English, of course, or whatever. So there you go. Wallace D. Wallace, Science of Getting Rich, classic book. So does that help, Joy?
That does, and being a nurse for so many years, our main saying is see one, do one, teach one.
Yep. There you go.
Yep.
Good times. Well, thank you, Joy. Thanks for taking care of the dogs. Your son says they're cute.
They are. They're precious.
All right. Very good. We'll see you again on another Black Diamond call. Let's go to our next caller, which is Ricardo. You're live on the air, Ricardo.
Yes, I really don't have a question, but I think you taking the time out and filling us with all this information. The key thing that I got out of the training today was increase, providing people with a sense of increase when you're meeting with them, coming in contact with them. That's like what's resonated through this whole thing, because everything that you've actually gave us tonight was increase for me mentally, gaining more knowledge and understanding of what we're doing here. I'm really excited about getting started. I actually got started last week on Thursday, and I'm just ready to absorb everything that I can like a sponge. And then the books that you laid out, I learned something from, I'm doing a lot of personal development, but I learned that a lot of leaders are readers, and that's like huge and amazing for me, because some of the stuff like Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret, you quoted one of the things from The Strangest Secret, and then Wallace D. Waddle. I didn't know about him. That was amazing. The Science of Getting Rich. As soon as you said it, I looked it up and downloaded it immediately. And then
Good.
James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. I heard of the book, As a Man Thinketh, but it's just adding more things to my repertoire for my personal development. And I've learned from my coach. She was informing me that, hey, if you want to be successful, you got to change your mindset of thinking. And it's hard for me to go to a 9-to-5 every day and knowing people are thinking like, it's kind of, I feel like we're kind of like in the Matrix. We've all been woken up. Everybody's on this call. We're not like everybody else. Everybody's sleep still, living a 9-to-5, and that's what they believe life is like. But everybody that's on this call has been awoken. We took the blue pill and said, hey, the red pill, and decided, hey, we're going to take that jump, that leap into a faith, into something different, and think differently. And this has really been amazing, because I understand, like you said, you're not going to learn this overnight. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon race, and that as you continue to learn from this, you're chomping off and absorbing everything as you can. Hey, this may not work right now for you, and you go into something else, and that thing may work better than that other thing you started within this process, and you're going to take off from there. And that's what I like about this. This is not just one set niche that you got to do it this way, and this is the way it's going to be done, and they're going to keep trying to make a square peg go into a round hole. It's not going to work for some people, and I like that about this.
Yeah, well, marketing is necessary in any enterprise, right? So that's the universal applicability of what we've got here with Digital Altitude. And how fortunate for us, we've got an extremely lucrative product line. So right there's your primary offer. But let's say, Ricardo, you become a master marketer and you've made millions of dollars, and then what? Let's say you go write a book, right? Now you've got a list. Now you've got thousands of people that want to buy your book.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, I like
and
that.
now maybe you've got your course, your mastermind, your, I don't know, maybe you want to start a dog thing or something from our last caller, right? And now you got people that know you and they got dogs. I mean, there's marketing just is ubiquitous, man. It's like everywhere you go, there it is. So Anyway, thank you, Ricardo. Great feedback, and really appreciate you being here and participating tonight.
Thanks, John, again.
All right, right on. We got 3 more callers before I fall off my chair. And our next caller is it Manga or Rupali?
Yeah, Rupali.
Rupali, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Good, great. So I won't keep this. I'll keep this pretty short because I know it's late. I just really wanted to just share my opinion and just give you feedback. First of all, really appreciate you jumping on these calls. It's making a difference. And just really quickly, kind of my background. So I was in corporate for 10 plus years, and about 2 years ago, I, started really kind of dreaming, if that's the way to put it. What are the other possibilities out there? And over the last 2 years, I failed a lot. I started businesses, didn't work out, and long story short, about like 6-7 months ago, I started really focusing on myself and my inner, desires and aspirations and my passions and stuff. And, it's just, the whole point is that law of attraction, right, is when you really start wanting something and you think about it day and night, it starts coming true. And what happened was, because I had been wanting to quit my job for a long time, my company literally like 3 weeks after I started that process gave me the opportunity and gave me a financial package. And then like a month and a half later, I came across digital altitude. So the point of this is that like once I started focusing on what I really want in life, what my passions are, and what I want to do, what my purpose for living is, and I started writing about it every day and thinking about it, literally within like 2 to 3 months, things started unfolding for me. So, this whole notion of really putting it out there into the universe and really attracting those things in your life, it really works. At least it has for me. And just always keeping that positive mindset. And so now I'm an Apex member. I'm actually brand new to online marketing, but I said, you know what? I'm not going to half-ass it. I'm just going to go right in. And
Bravo, Rupali. Congratulations.
So I burned the boats, but, I'm committed to it. So here I am. But thank you so much for all the inspiration you provide every day. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Rupali. Everybody, that's Rupali. She is full Apex. She's brand new. Bravo. I can't wait to see you in Maui. Make sure that you come and shake my hand in person. There's going to be hundreds and hundreds of people at this first Ascend event, and I intend to meet every single one. So definitely, I will see you there.
Definitely. Thank you.
All right. And we got 2 more callers. And our next contestant is DeAndre.
Hello, how you doing?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. I just have a quick question. Where would you recommend going to learn more about email marketing, on like what to say as far as when you're sending out your letters to your leads?
Yep. I would go into your Digital Altitude members site, and I would click on the nav bar where it says TV, and then I would go to the training calls archive. And in there you'll find recordings of live webinars as presented by Samith Pish from Perth, Australia, who hosts our On the Rise show on Wednesday nights. You'll also find recordings from the traffic coaches for the different traffic and lead generation and list cultivation methods, as they taught them as well. So that's in the TV menu under the training calls archive. Which is constantly growing. In fact, this Wednesday, it'll grow again by at least one more episode of On the Rise, right? So that's all in there, and you've got a few different personalities. Like, for example, Samith usually has a co-host, just like I usually have a co-host on this call, who brings a different angle, right, a different method, and they're actually sharing their screen and showing you what they do. And I know for a fact that there's a couple of episodes that address email marketing directly already in there. So go check those out.
Awesome. Okay.
Very good. You got it, DeAndre. Thank you for being here. And here's our last caller for the night, whose name I don't know, but you're in the 620 area code. You're live on the air.
Hi, my name is Eli, and when
Hi,
I was
Eli.
listening, I'm sorry I'm out of breath. I always listen to everything when I'm at the gym.
Good for you.
Thanks. I try. but your call tonight, it was weird because I was talking with my husband. I have a friend that she is a ML company, someone who provides like healthcare or weight loss program and stuff like this, and she was telling me how she was $1,500 away from her sales, and I go, well, what's your highest ticketed item? And she goes, well, each package is $500. I go, so you were only 3 sales away from making your goal, and how long of a period of time do you have to do that? She said, well, we have to meet that mark every month. And I said, okay, well, if you're only 3 sales away, you know, what is it that you're doing wrong? And she goes, well, I don't really know. I just, this happens or that happens. And I just kept thinking it's like, you can make those goals. And I was listening to the call with Alfredo, and so I was telling her, like, you know, I was listening to this great entrepreneur on this conference call, and this is how he sets up his Facebook accounts, and this is how he gets teams in, and, you know, how to treat everyone as an equal on one, and then on the other, it's for people who are really committed, and so he gives them more to learn from, or he secludes them to where he can benefit them or cater to them more so versus people who are kind of just seeing what it's like. And I said, you know, this is something that you could probably use. And she instantly got pissed. And I was like, you know, why are you upset? She goes, well, it'll work itself out. And I go, no, it won't. It's not going to work unless you make it work. You're not going to get the sales unless you make those sales. And there's a lot of people like that. And when you're talking about, you know, you can't teach what you don't know. And it's the same thing as for people, they'll invest money. And they go, yeah, sure, I'm serious because I paid you $2,000. You know, this is what I want. But then they don't do anything. And they just expect it to happen. And like people say, you know, well, I'm doing what I can. I don't want to work this many hours, though, or I don't want to work full time, or, you know, I want to spend more time with my family, this or that, but they're not financially stable to even do that. And so they go, well, I'll pray about it. Okay, sure, but whoever you believe in, whatever God you believe in, it's only going to meet you halfway. You have to do the work. And so people just expect a lot of something for a lot of nothing. And it's the same thing that applies to, you can't teach what you don't know, but you have to want to know. You have to want to teach. And so I guess I don't really have a question. I was just kind of collaborating on what you were saying, and it just hit the nail on the head tonight when I was discussing with my husband. It's like, people like that drive me crazy. They only want a halfway-ass commit, which isn't really committing. And they want to be a part of something so big, but they're not really a part of it. And so I guess my biggest thing is, don't make excuses. Make a move. You know, just like you said, learn something and then do it and then teach it. And that's how you have value versus someone who, sure, you know, I'll become a part of this company, or sure, I want to sell jewelry or makeup or whatever it may be, but then they just expect these people to come to them because now they have something to provide. Well, it doesn't work like that.
That's great, Eli. Yeah, you know, a couple things. Most people, and look, this is not to disparage the whole, you know, industry of, you know, multi-level marketing, or, you know, people who identify as network marketers. I'll just tell you that having been around that industry for as long as I have, that most people who identify as network marketers can't define the word marketing. So yet again, we need to consult the dictionary. What is your job? Your job is to reach into the public, impinge on their space, put their attention on that which you offer in order to increase the demand for what you have a supply. That's what marketing is. Ask any network marketer for that definition, and you're going to get a deer in headlights. Now, some of them know what they're doing, and they make millions. You see, there's not a whole lot of competition out there. It's like I referred to before, where Tatiana was quoting Bob Proctor last Tuesday, where your income is determined by the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there would be in replacing you. There's very few professionals. Just like in golf, there's very few professionals. A whole lot of amateurs playing golf. Okay, the other thing that you said reminded me of a quote, and it's one of my favorites, and that is, half measures avail us nothing, right? So when we think about that, you got to go after success like your life depends on it. We heard from Rupali before, who's like, yeah, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. What's this deal? Oh, it's Apex? Great, sign me up for that, right? No turning back, no turning back. That is the kind of necessity, right? The burning of the boats, that whole resolve, that's what we're talking about. That's what gets the job done. And at least in my life. Now, maybe other people have had a more casual approach to success. I've never had a casual approach to success. Because for me, half measures availed me nothing. I had to go after it like my life depended on it. And some interesting things happen in your resolve and in your mindset when you've made commitments that are beyond just being reasonable. Yes, when we get unreasonable, that's when we make progress. When we do something beyond the comfort zone, so to speak. So I think you're seeing that, and you're seeing the opposite in contrast. You're seeing that contrast in in the world of I'll just say pseudo-entrepreneurship. And again, I'm not here to be critical. There are as many paths as there are people to take them, and who am I to dictate to someone else, right? That's not my place. I can just tell you this is what works for me. And I approach business like it's a full-on assault. So, and that seems to work. I haven't worked a job since 2002. Something's working here, Eli. You're in the right place.
Yep.
Thanks for being here, my friend. And with that, we're going to wrap.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much. And with that, we are going to wrap up Q&A. And we're going to wrap up the Black Diamond Call. Thank you, my friends, for joining us. Next week, I've got somebody really cool on the schedule. You're going to really enjoy that. In fact, we got somebody cool on the schedule every week, even if it's just me flying solo. Yeah, that's cool too. But I'm tired. I got to make a couple more calls. I got students waiting for me, so I'm going to go ahead and get with them. And everybody, thank you again for participating. Join us tomorrow morning for the wake-up call. It's Tuesday tomorrow, so Tatiana Tuesday. We'll see everybody there. Make it a great night. You absolutely deserve it, and we'll see you there. Bye for now.